Welcome to the Stretch to Go podcast. My name is Ian Ray, your host. Today I have Sahib Aggarwal out of New Delhi, India. He's the founder and creator of Zen Barefoot. Sahib, welcome to the Stretch to Go podcast.
Thank you so much for having me and super to be on this podcast. I think we've been speaking for a long time. I'm glad to be here and finally speaking with you.
Yes, likewise. I know this is like one of my favorite things to do is just learn about how people got into barefoot shoes, and of course, creating brands that are barefoot shoe inspired. But first of all, how did you yourself get into barefoot shoes? What is your story in creating Zen Barefoot?
It is a long story if you give me a little time, but it actually started with me moving to Bengaluru, which is a southern city in India. I moved here for a job. So I'm an engineer by education. I'm a mechanical engineer, but I never wanted to really do anything in engineering. So I figured out I'd probably get into business roles. So I was always in marketing, figuring out offline events, doing a little bit of social media here and there. And that is why I moved to Bangalore or Bengaluru. And that is when I started running because somehow Bengaluru is that one city in India where everyone runs. And when I say everyone, I mean everyone. Like there's people who are like 5-year-old kids to 70-year-old folks. Everyone's running. And I got into it and I got really, really, really pulled into it. So I was running every single day. I got one of those really chunky runners as well after a point. I won't name any brands, but so I was training on a daily basis. I was preparing for my first full marathon. So I'd done a half marathon and I was preparing for my full marathon. And that is when I injured myself. So I had an ankle injury, which was like I would say a stress injury. Like I was just training a little too much, probably not doing enough rest in between my runs. And that is what got me into rehab. And through that process is when a lot of Instagram kind of doing its thing. A lot of these videos by all these people started coming to me. You have the flexi guy and all of those folks, right? Wearing 5-finger shoes. And I'm like, okay, this is something interesting because I've been going to these physiotherapists for a while and nothing's been working. But these guys say that good foot function comes from these weirdish looking shoes. So what are these? So that is when I got into researching about it and realized, okay, this is interesting. So I got myself like a cheap quality pair that these are like China imports, right? Like water shoes marketed as barefoot shoes because India did not have any barefoot shoes until that point except for those. So you either had Vibram 5 fingers, which were very expensive and are very expensive, especially for the Indian market, or you had these really cheap, flimsy-ish shoes. So I was like, let me just give it a go. I mean, it's okay. Even if it's not good, I just chuck them away. So I wore them and I started walking in them, running in them. And I realized that, okay, there's something that's happening here. And suddenly, like a lot of the pains that I was having personally, they were getting lesser and lesser and lesser. Uh, I was like, okay, interesting. So I just left my job as well in that time period because another thing that I was doing at the time was preparing for a walk. So my idea, I don't know if you know Mike Posner, the DJ. He did a walk from the west coast to the east coast of America. I was planning
Yeah.
something very similar. I wanted to walk from Kanyakumari, which is the southernmost point in India, to Kashmir, which is the northernmost state in India. So I was like, this is something that I have to do. It's a 6-month long plan and I'll do all of this. And I had to cancel that because of the injury. So I was in that zone, right? Because it was a passion project, a life project of mine that had just been snatched away because of this injury. So I'd left my job because, of course, 6 months of hiatus from a company is tough to get. So I just left it. And then I got injured. So I was out of a job. I was with a bad ankle. And I had an idea that, okay, like I couldn't be the only one in a population of 1.4 billion having this kind of an issue, right? Especially India is great that way. I mean, you find a good product and you'll find customers. So that is when I called back home. I called my dad that dad, I want to start something in this space. I'm not sure if it'll work or not because again, we don't know. Like we knew that again, the US has like a great audience for this. Europe has a great audience for this. Australia to some extent has a great audience for this, but India has no idea what barefoot shoes are.
Mm.
But I told my dad about it and the both of us are into fitness. Like he's also always been into fitness. So he was like, this sounds amazing. You come back home and we'll do this together. And that is when I just took a flight. I packed up all my stuff. I went back to Delhi, and that is when it all started. So yeah, we started working on research. We got samples from the US, just because this, like, one, we had no background in what barefoot shoes are, like, or what shoemaking is, even, like, forget barefoot shoes, like what even regular shoemaking is. He's always been in the iron industry. I've always been in marketing, so no idea. So we got a couple of pairs. We got the Zeros, the Vivos, and we thought, okay, we will take these as reference and see what we can do for the Indian market. So yeah, that is how it all started.
So what year was this that I guess, when you got injured and then when you and your dad combined and say, let's start and create Zen Barefoot. What year was that?
I got injured in around August of 2023. So quite
Uh-huh.
recent, actually. So before that, I
Yeah.
had no clue what barefoot shoes were. Like, I had some sense of it because the guy who got me into running, he used to run barefoot sometimes. And
Uh,
there's this very famous person, Milind Soman, in India, who runs barefoot and also organizes like a barefoot marathon near Bengaluru in Coorg. So I had some sense of it, but no idea otherwise. And that is when I had first learnt about it. And towards the end of 2023 is when I called up my dad and I was like, I'm going to come back and we're going to start this.
so Zen Barefoot's like 2 years ish old or
2 years
okay.
issue. Yeah.
Dang. Yeah. That's so crazy. Yeah. See, uh, you know, previously, like I was kind of mentioned to you, like 2 years ago, like that's when I got into barefoot shoes too. So kind of coincident, but
Yeah.
ankle injuries from the past from playing sports. So I've always, figured what's causing all my knee, ankle, hip issues. And so that's how I got into barefoot. The same thing, walking, simply just walking into barefoot shoes. Just a good, easy entryway to, like I said, buy something cheap because I think I had the same
Of
mindset as
course.
you. It's like I didn't want to invest in something I didn't know if it was going to work or not. So of course, same like you. I think my first brand was like off Amazon just to see and just walking, for 30 minutes or something between my lunch breaks. And then that's when I was like, dang, my feet's getting stronger. I started to get, less shin splints. I think shin splints was my thing that
Okay.
caused a lot of running issues. So that kind of went away as I continued to, learn about the foot strengthening from the ground up. So yeah, man, this is awesome. I love that. That's cool.
Yeah.
So
Super.
So with the name Zen Barefoot, what is it? Because I always ask every brand, because there has to be a name behind it, a reason why you named Zen Barefoot. What is it?
Because I think the name bit was a journey in itself. So we have a family group. It's me, my sister, my mom, and my dad. Now, because I was doing this with my dad, my mom and sister also got equally involved, I'd say. And there were a lot of names. Of course, I think just like every other brand, we were looking at terms from the Africa, right? Like the Kizumu, or like Japanese words that we can kind of pull an inspiration from, something around movement, something around stillness, something around whatnot. And we came to Kaizen, which is continuous improvement. And like you get 1% better every day. Before you know it, you're much stronger and you're much better. It's a more supply chain slash operations term, but we kind of liked it. But Kaizen.com was unavailable, obviously. And of course, it being a very operational and factory term, we decided that Zen kind of sounds like our vibe, because again, Zen is, again, it's strength in stillness almost. Right?
Hmm.
Like being Zen is not about just, let's say, it's not about yoga, like, which a lot of people associate it with. It's not just about like sitting in a mudra for like hours. It's more about like being in peace with your natural ability, being one with yourself and the world. And I think that is what barefoot shoes also do to some extent. It connects you to the world in a way that other shoes can't. That is how you also get in touch with yourself. So Zen came from there. And again, Zen.com was unavailable, obviously. So we thought, okay, Zen Barefoot will probably be available and be at a good price. And luckily it was. So ZenBarefoot.com was born and Zen Barefoot was born.
That's awesome. Okay, cool. Love that. That's makes sense. Kaizen. Yeah. I'm Japanese, so that kind of resonates with me. So that's cool, man.
Yeah.
And then I guess for you, when you're looking to barefoot shoes, you're trying on all these different brands from different places. There has to be something that now we're talking about your shoes, but I think it makes a huge difference when you look at the toe box because yes, there are some shoes that are anatomical, meaning they don't look too wide, where the big toe is extending too much to the left or right. But it's just
Right.
enough to give that splay. Where did you and your dad come to the point where you're like, this is the model, this is our flagship style of creating the first pair of Zen Barefoot?
So I think it came from, again, the two bigger brands that I told you about, right? Like Zero and Vivo. These were our references because one, sourcing them was the easiest for us at the time.
Hmm.
With our limited knowledge, these were the two bigger brands that we knew of, and we knew were safe because, again, they're doing good globally. Like within the barefoot space, I think these are the two biggest brands. As at least that is what I perceive. So we thought, okay, if they've been able to do something, we can. I think these are two good references to have. So we got a couple pairs of each. We got the Primer Slide Knit from Vivo, and we got a trail running shoe from Zero on our trip to Vietnam. We'd gone to Vietnam just to, I don't know, for a footwear exhibition, just to learn stuff. And so we tried them on. It kind of fit for me, but we did realize that Indians, by default, because we're an agrarian community, the countries has come from farming. A lot of people have really wide feet,
Uh,
just genetically. At least that's what we realized. So for a lot of folks, like the Vivos still kind
too
of seemed
narrow.
not too wide, narrow. I think even globally, right? Like Vivo, if you compare it to like a lot of the other brands that now we know of, they come on the narrower side of barefoot, and even Zero to some extent with their initial models at least. So, of course, with that in reference, we kind of increased the width of the toe box, kind of in consultation with the factory that we were going to work with on how we can do this without. That was the biggest struggle for us also, because again, Indian manufacturers have never made a barefoot shoe. Most of them don't even know what a barefoot shoe is. And that was the biggest struggle for us to begin with, to convince them even to allow us, even as a brand who's paying them, we had to convince them so hard to make a shoe that is broad in the front. They just never understood it. They said that this much width for a European 42 size, this is not a European 42 width. A European 42 is like two sizes smaller than this, whatever you're recommending. So for them, it kind of didn't make sense. But we kind of forced them and forced them and forced them. So these were the two brands that we kind of picked up. We told them, okay, this is the width. We need to increase it by one size at least for the Indian market. And that is how we kind of ended up with this kind of a profile for our shoe.
It's interesting that you mentioned about the foot width of, like for Indian people. Like, I think that's one thing that's maybe not talked about a lot in the barefoot shoe community is like, you have to look at what type of foot shape you have, right? Because there are different types of name. Like there's the Greek, there's all these different terminology of foot shape where your toes are either curved down or if it's stacked down or straight across. So not all shoes are you that you have, not all shoes are going to fit great for each person individually. Like I've noticed, like I said, trying all these different brands, like this felt comfortable. If I tried on, like some or that are anatomical, like I said, more narrow on the end, my feet still are kind of tight to where I'm like, I don't know if I would wear it all day. So I don't get
Right.
that full splay. But I think that's something that people who are getting into barefoot shoes, you should learn about your foot. You should learn about the brand and see. And brands should also kind of, I guess, not market, but really educate people like this. These are great for people with this type of foot, for like, people who have wider foot or narrow, because that's going to attract more clients, more customers, because less returns. You're going to have a loyal fan base, and people who have the same foot will refer. Will always, say, "Hey, this is a great fit for me because I have this." It's not going to cause any type of bunions or any, I mean, worsen your bunions. So that's where I think the wide toe box makes a difference in barefoot shoes. Whether people terminology as anatomical, you have to look at it. So
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Like even today, I think we see this with a couple of folks because, again, India, again, being such a big audience, right? Like it's what 1/7 of the world.
hmm.
There's people with all kinds of foot shapes, and people like there's people who have like really wide feet. Like people who think even this is not comfortable for them, which is of course like totally valid. And we're already working on like a shoe which is much wider than this. So we'll have like both on the catalog for like so every time somebody asks for a return, like we have a sheet where we note down, okay, this is a person who needs something that is wider. This is a person that feels that this is a little tight at the ankle. and whatnot. So we have all that data because we, as of today, we don't take any returns unless we had a conversation with the customer. Because again, we are setting a standard for what barefoot shoes should be in India because we're practically the first brand who's serving the Indian community in a very closed quarter space. Before us, the brands who did it are whatever they're importing from China, putting their name on it and just selling, which is, I would say also like it's great as a business. Nothing against them for sure, because at the end of the day, they helped me as well in my own journey. But we really want to make something really great out of it. So we take all of that into consideration and are working towards that. Yeah.
And then what makes Zen Barefoot shoes unique from your perspective, having created your models and collections? So, what do you think are some of the unique aspects of your shoe?
So, from an Indian standpoint, I will just say that we're like, I very confidently say that we're the very first truly barefoot Indian brand because we've kind of taken into people's feet into account to some level. Then we are the only shoe that is actually also made in India, which most other shoes aren't. And India, if I'm not sure how much you know Indians, but we're very proud of making stuff in India. Like our government promotes it as much as they can. And we've just been very, very pro with it as well ourselves. So of course we take inspiration from Vietnam, we take inspiration from China, again the major manufacturing hubs, of course, but we try to bring that technology in as well. Other than that, from a design point of view, I think we wanted to make something for the Indian market that you can actually wear outside without being looked at weirdly. Because India is still in a phase where people do want to project a certain image of themselves. I think globally as well. I think with the rise of social media and whatnot, we've become very conscious of ourselves, right, and how we look and how we are portrayed in the outside worlds. Like as good as the Viber of Five Fingers are, they're for people who are okay with being like, like looked at. Okay, that is something, but not everyone. So we wanted to make something that looks good, doesn't get heads turned around, but also works good functionally. We've
Mhm.
tried to keep them a little on the like we have an insole which is removable because again Indian roads are not perfect in any way. It's not very pedestrian friendly. India, it's still moving in that direction, but it's tricky to walk around India. And that is like the first question that we always got, that what if there's a nail on the street, what if
Mm,
there's stones, what if there's rubble I have to cross, will this be comfortable? And answering those questions were quite tricky, right? Because there's no precedent here. So we use rubber as an outsole, which is again durable. We've done a lot of testing on it as well, so that it doesn't wither away as quickly. Because again, the material that you can probably use in the US with like walkways, like you'd be walking on like very relatively better footpaths, right? We have roads which don't have any footpaths. We'll probably be walking right alongside like a bike that is going on the main road. We'll have construction rubble all around. So we have to kind of account for that. So I think those kind of adaptations are what make us a little special for the Indian market. I think globally, of course, there's a lot to learn. Like being very, very honest and very frank here, I also went to the Barefoot exhibition in Germany recently.
yeah,
And we saw some great brands out there, some 40, 50 brands. And we realized that, okay, like there are brands which are doing so well from a design point of view. Let's say own shoes, right? Which the brand like crazy good designs. There's so many other. There's fleeters and whatnot. So there's a lot to learn, and of course we're on that journey. So we're very very young. I think what we have, what other some of the other brands don't, is the energy. It's just me and my dad. It's very lean. It's very rough. But I think that's what makes us special. Like we just keep learning, and we just we go keep moving with the trends, I guess.
sure. And now you've been through several conventions. I think you went to China for another expo and whatnot. I think those are things maybe as a entrepreneur you have to kind of educate yourself and learn and see what's out there, which you are. You're actively doing it. Being on this barefoot shoe journey. So I can't imagine, man, like creating a shoe brand. And I give really big props to smaller brands because, like, yeah, you are the ones testing it out. You're interacting with customers. You're, going out there to do the R&D. So I'm sure there's a lot that you personally have to sacrifice to, one, educate customers and people around you, like what barefoot shoes is if it's new, especially in India. Like I'm assuming there's a lot of work to do. But you as a brand, you have to also educate you and your team, whether if it's the development team or those who are making the shoes. So that's to me, I think that's takes a lot of time and energy into creating something that's very not popular or even different for people.
Definitely.
So, with you and your dad, I guess, what are some things that you really like about your shoes? Kind of let's talk about like everything as far as, because some of the laces, like, I'll be frank too, like the laces, like, I think it could improve. I want them more
Yeah.
snugger. Okay. So that I'm sure you probably heard that too. The laces, everything else seems to really be great for me. Like I said, great traction. I took it to the gym, took it for walking and whatnot. And I really appreciate the sock feel. I think that's very, it makes it sleek looking where it's not, like I said, it doesn't stand out like from other, type of barefoot shoes. But what is your some of the favorite aspects that you want to share and kind of hone on?
I think some things that we really like about this particular model, especially the one that you have the origin, is the fact that it's easy to wear, which again a lot of Indians kind of prefer. So I will probably say I'll say it out loud. This is a slip-on model with laces. So even if you don't have the laces don't really do much. It kind of helps
Mm,
you adjust an at most, like an or two, but they're practically non-existent, right? They're more of a. I think that is also something that we did after a point because one, when the models that we got from, like, let's say a Zero and a Vivo, like the Vivo was a very similar profile. So
hmm
again, for the first model, we were like, okay, let's try to figure out what do we need to improve in this and kind of go with that more than like creating something 100% new, because we're
mm,
testing the waters here. So, one, I think that is where the reference kind of came in. So I love how this is a sock-like feel. So the yarn that we got, we're very proud of because it took a little while for us to source this particular yarn where it kind of stretches and also kind of maintains its shape. So it kind of hugs your foot in a way where it's not too tight, but at the same time gives you that freedom. So that is one thing we love. I think our designer put in like a lot of effort when we initially started because, like, with the sole, especially, I think the design on the sole, and it's a crazy story. The design of our sole was not designed by a footwear designer. It was actually designed by a graphic designer for like a poster that we wanted to do. And we
no
loved
way.
it so much that we eventually took it to the factory and to the designer, to the footwear designer, and we asked, can we put the same thing on the sole of the shoe? And then we kind of got them to do tests on let's say the traction and everything else, and they said, yeah, this looks good. So we made small little changes to it. So the sole is, I think, something that every single person has really appreciated. Like the design on the sole, we wanted it to be again very zen. We wanted mountains, we wanted a river, wanted like the sands. So love that about the shoe. The lace is 100%. I think I'll take your feedback on that. Not that you're the first person to be giving to us, but yeah, the laces are on its journey to get improved for sure.
Okay, cool. Like I said, and even for myself, who is a barefoot enthusiast, I think the soles removal soles also is a great thing. To kind of you work your way into it. Um, yeah, man. But quality wise, I think it's great. For myself, I've never personally wore Vivo barefoot ever. I've never tried it on,
Yeah.
but I've just
Okay.
looking at it. And it is popular because they've been around and they're leading. But I think I would probably fit more in as a narrow, like you kind of mentioned. So I don't know if I would go get into it. Definitely, I would try just to see it because like I said, I've never tried Viva Barefoot. But to me, right now at this time, like I need a wider toe box to fit my feet profile. So let's go into as far as the business. What are you doing to grow your exposure and awareness for Zen Barefoot? I know you're into the running community yourself. You do a lot of education and whatnot. So what are you doing?
So again, when we started, we're a bootstrap company. We haven't raised any funding, right? So we wanted to keep it very lean. Even today, it's just me, my dad, and a couple of folks at the warehouse who do the packing and the shipping for us. And that's about it. We're a 4 or 5 member team. So my dad handles all operations. I take care after marketing. So what we do today and what we did initially when we started was we knew that again India needs a lot of awareness first, and of course we at the end of the day need a lot of discovery. Like people need to discover us when they're looking for, let's say, pain. So we kind of figured out that our audience as of today is, let's say, 25 to 45. That is the age range. people who are living in tier one cities who can afford this kind of a product and are in the phase of, okay, I can experiment on a product. So these are mostly people who are living in tier one cities in India and are probably in pain or are into fitness for sure. Like today, I think barefoot shoes, a lot of people associate barefoot shoes with a fitness first approach. And that is what it's marketed as. There's not a lot of people who are looking for barefoot shoes for casual purposes as much. I think people get into it for fitness and then eventually kind of move into the, okay, I need barefoot shoes for everything later. So that is how we kind of like looked at it. So for us, I think, again, we did not want to spend a lot of money on ads and whatnot. So we focused on one SEO, which is search engine optimization. So we started writing blogs on day one where we're just writing about, okay, if you have knee pain, what you should do. Not that we would connect it to barefoot shoes to begin with. We just wanted people to read and get better about it. So we had a couple of physiotherapists on board who are helping us with exercises that we can recommend, which are safe for people to kind of practice on their own. So if you have knee problems, how do barefoot shoes help? If you have ankle problems, how do barefoot shoes help? So like just putting in all those keywords, getting some traffic to the website. We created a free mobility guide, again, in consultation with these physiotherapists for, okay, if you're on the website, just leave in your email address. We'll mail this guide to you. So there's a back mobility, there's ankle mobility, knee issue mobility guides, right? Like what exercise can you do? So that is how we got like our first set of whatever 500, 600 email IDs of people who are, let's say, interested. The other thing that I'd been doing at my previous job was content. So I just started vlogging our journey of building Zen Barefoot, like whatever the first barefoot shoe company in India,
Mm-hmm.
and build it. So, okay, now I need to register my company and I'm going to the bank and getting an account and I'm whatever going to the factory and negotiating. So all of that is on the like even me leaving Bangalore and moving to Delhi, that is like a vlog in itself. And people just loved it. People really wanted to kind of cheer on this company, which has, like which is like whatever, I'm leaving everything. It's like and kind of getting into an industry which does not exist. So I remember that there was this one reel where I posted about, okay, how do your like everyone has shoes, right?
Mm-hmm.
But people don't know how they're made. So we started doing these behind the scenes at the factory and they blew up. We had like 2 million views, 4 million views, 5 million views on videos of just people looking at, okay, how does paint get applied on my shoe? Like
Mm-hmm.
the paint on my shoe, how did it get there? And people are just loving it because like it's crazy to them.
Yeah.
And so that is how we started with that, just our journey, because we did not have a product for the first 8 months of our journey. So we all we had was our story and our journey. So that is what we shared on socials and got like I think first 5,000-6,000 followers on Instagram. And after that, then we had the product. So we did a launch video. We started doing exercise videos because again, the idea was the same. I think a lot of people miss that in a lot of way where they forget what their audience is. So for us, again, the audience is 25 to 45 tier one cities in pain and into fitness. So we need to serve these people. So with every piece of content that we put out after other than whatever basic awareness about what Zen Barefoot is, needs to be focused towards these people. Even if it's like less views, there's more chances of me getting more customers from here because I'm
Sure.
actually like getting trust with them. Okay, Sahib knows something, right? And maybe the product that he makes will also help. So I just need to get in that maybe. And then they do their due diligence and whatever, go to their doctors, physios, ask them if it kind of makes sense, and then make a purchase. So these have been the two major focus points for us. Other than that, we've been doing a couple of events here and there. We do pop-ups once in a while in offices, like startup places. There's events into fitness quite a lot. So people who come in for fitness events, we put up a stall there. People into naturopathy, they really love these kind of products, right? Like again, getting back to nature is again like a different set of audience that we've realized is quite interested in barefoot shoes.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we've been doing that, and I think something that is quite interesting, something that I got to know and realized only 2 days ago, is that we're going to be featuring on Shark Tank India in the next 3 days. So there's a version of Shark Tank in India as well. There's the fifth season coming out. It's already out actually, and we'll be featuring on that. So we were lucky enough to be pitching in front of the five sharks. And yeah, so I think these are different ways that we're kind of reaching people now.
Yeah, that's cool. Is that a hard process to get onto Shark Tank?
Um,
Or did
it
you?
wasn't as much for us. So for me, how it went was that somebody from the Shark Tank team actually reached out to me on Instagram. And they said, we really liked your brand, we like your content, and we'd love for you to apply. There's like four simple rounds. The first two rounds are like simple forms that you need to fill. After that, there's like a studio round. And then after that is when you kind of go to the tank.
Hmm.
And there's no guarantee if it'll be, even after the recording in the tank, if it'll go online or not.
Yeah.
And it depends on how the pitch goes. Of course, if everything is respectful and if it's PR worthy, because at the end of the day, it's a TV show, right? Like it's business, but it's also like a TV show first. So we weren't really sure. So we didn't want to raise funding immediately because again we were testing out the product, testing out the market ourselves. So we didn't want the added pressure of let's say an investor coming in and kind of pushing us to get sales when
Hmm.
we weren't sure if there's a market for this. So but we were like, okay. So I asked the guy, can I drop out of this after let's say two rounds if I don't feel like we're in the right place, we don't want to go ahead. He's like, yeah, two rounds later, you can let me know before the studio round. You let us know if you want to go ahead or not. So we filled out the form. We first round we got selected, second round we got selected. Then we're like, might as well go to the studio round. We'll see what happens. And then we go there and we got selected. Then before we know it, we're at the shoot. And yeah, we're pitching Zen Barefoot to like five sharks, and then again, like whatever 10, 12, 15 billion million people who are gonna watch it online, probably more. Yeah. So yeah, I think just the opportunity of doing that is crazy. It's not a tough process. But I think just the whole like the scale of it kind of scares you. So from that point of view, yeah, it's a little tough.
All I need is just one big hit, and then you're gonna be
Yeah,
busy. You know.
yeah.
Yeah.
Only yesterday I was thinking on how Zero was on Shark Tank as well. I think 2008. They went on the Shark Tank, and I at that time I think they only had the self-making sandals, like
Hmm.
the sandals where you kind of make it yourself at home. The sandal kit. They went with that. I don't think I think they didn't get funding over there, but yeah. So quite interesting that way, like how almost what 15, 16 years after, it's a very similar journey.
Yeah, man. Well, that's exciting, man. Definitely great for a brand, of a startup brand. I would say it's for you and your family to get this kind of exposure. That's definitely a win for sure. So hopefully everything goes well. Kind of rounding up towards the closing, but I want to really ask you the questions of what your goals for Zen Barefoot is. 5, 10 year outlook. Where do you see barefoot shoes evolving? Your hopes and dreams, obviously, too, where barefoot shoes becomes a norm that more people are looking into their feet. So what kind of give me your last final thoughts on Barefoot, your brand, Zen Barefoot. Where do you see it evolving, growing? And then the second part is where do you see barefoot shoes, people getting into barefoot shoes, where do you see that trending towards or evolving?
So I think COVID has a big role to play again to answer both these questions simultaneously, right? COVID has a big role to play in how people have started looking at fitness. People
Hmm.
don't want to just get faster anymore. They don't want to just become stronger anymore. People really want to become more functional. And I think barefoot has been like key for me and a lot of people that way. So I do see that one, people are now thinking about longevity more than just being the best in the world. So I think that is a really good step for the world to be heading towards. And I think that is why there's a little more awareness about barefoot shoes as well, because again, barefoot shoes don't help you on day one. They'll probably make you a little worse off on day one, right?
Yeah.
Because now you can feel everything that you weren't before. So it's only after a while that you kind of reap the benefits of being in a barefoot shoe. And people are realizing that. So I think I think the world is definitely heading into a space where a lot of mainstream people as well, right? Like people who are, let's say, Hugh Jackman wearing Ultra while dancing, and that reel kind of going everywhere is crazy good, right? I mean, it takes whatever footwear, at least of course not 100% barefoot, but again, like Ultra is a white, like they promote themselves as like having a white toe box, which they do have as well. So when more and more people kind of do that, wear that, it kind of goes out into the world, like people start talking about it. And I think we already see that happening to some extent. There's a lot of Indian athletes, Indian actors and actresses who are now wearing the Vibram Five Fingers for training to begin with, which is a great start because they do look fugly, but they still do it because they see the benefit.
Hmm.
So definitely that is the way everything is going. And with Zen Barefoot as well, we want to make this as accessible as possible. So from our pricing to how we kind of go into the market, how we educate people, we just want people to be aware. And of course, everyone has their own right to make their choices. With our designs, we want to give them all the options that they have. Of course, like the Origin is one design. I'm going to show you like another shoe. This is the Kairos that we kind of launched, what, 2 weeks ago? So yeah, so this is another shoe which is like again relatively minimal design. It's something that you can wear to the office for a brunch. So it's a different design from that point of view. We want barefoot shoes to be a norm, not just a gym shoe.
Hmm.
Because of course, like there's benefits to wearing barefoot shoes at the gym, but the other 12 hours that you're wearing regular shoes, you're probably doing more damage than you can solve for. And that is what Zen Barefoot wants to do. So we're not just looking at India. Of course, like our main focus today is India because India is extremely underserved when it comes to barefoot shoes. But of course, we can definitely make this a global brand, and we want to make this a global brand because we do have the ability. We also have like the manufacturing capability in India where we can get to that point where we can serve the world as well. So yeah, that's what comes next for Zen. Just doing more designs which solve for all kinds of use cases. We want to go really wide than just focus on, let's say, a fitness first shoe or just a casual first shoe. I think it's gonna be a learning. So yeah, we will see, but we kind of want to go all out and see where the wind takes us.
Well, yeah, I know. I think I saw a couple of your reels where you had that shoe on, so it looks really sleek, man. It's a what color is it? Is it like a blue, like turquoise? What would
Yeah,
you
yeah,
call
it's
that?
it's a turquoise, greenish
Okay,
blue. I don't know, a sea
yeah,
moss. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We
I
we
like
call
it.
it the sea. Kind of. Yeah, we call it sea.
Cool. um, Well, hey, I appreciate you for sharing your story. I think it's great that founders and creators of Barefoot Shoes kind of share this story because really this podcast is for you and of course people to learn more about the brand, the person behind it, and so it just helps connect us as consumers to people who are getting into barefoot shoes or foot health, and hopefully the more that you're out there educating customers and people on the internet, they will continue to follow your journey along. So appreciate you for hopping on. Love for you, Sahib, to share how people can learn about Zen Barefoot, what you're doing there. So if you want to share an email, social, website, any ways that they can reach out, contact, purchase your shoes, where can they find you?
So again, we ship globally almost. I'd say so. We're available on www.zenbarefoot.com. Again, simple to remember is a reason why we call Zen Barefoot as well. So zenbarefoot.com, and we're available on Instagram primarily. Instagram is like our first place to be reached out. TikTok, unfortunately, is not in India. So not on TikTok, but yeah. So Instagram is again Zen Barefoot. Other than that, we're on Twitter, Zen Barefoot, and we're also on YouTube. YouTube is not very active as of today, but we're gonna start over there pretty soon. So these are the 3, 4 places where you can find us. Other than that, hello@zenbarefoot.com if you have any questions. And again, if you go to the website, you'll find everything that you need to get in touch with us or me. Because again, all these places currently I'm managing. So you'll probably reach out to me and I'll give you a call and ask you what you need. And if not immediately, we'll be able to solve what you need in a couple of months. So yeah.
Cool. Well, everyone, check out Zen Barefoot. Appreciate you, Sahib, for hopping on through the podcast. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thanks.